All right, Shalom, Shalom, Israel. First, I want to give all honor and glory to the Most High, Yahweh, Ba'Shem Mashiach Umarak Yahushua. Yahweh is the name of the Heavenly Father, who the world calls God, and Yahushua is the name of His only begotten Son, who the world only calls Jesus Christ. First, I want to give a strong Shalom to all the mighty men that's going out there laboring, presenting their bodies as a living sacrifice, doing all they can to wake up the lost sheep of the house of Israel, enduring the elements, the freezing below codes and the 100-degree weathers, and enduring and casting down and enduring everything that's trying to hinder the work of the Most High. Shalom. I want to give another strong shalom to all the mighty Akwath, the children that are Slaki the Akwath, the sisters that are at home, and the unmarried sisters, being teachers of good things, tender, delicate, and on fire for the Most High. And I want to give another strong shalom to all the mighty teenagers and children in this thing as well, doing all they can to make their calling and election sure in the last days. And about the topic of this cold cut is we going into the visions of Ezekiel, right? The hidden secrets and what man does in the dark. All right. So we going into the visions of Ezekiel, right? Shalom to the brother Judah Manya. All right, and everybody else tuning in to the live stream. So I want to share my screen. All right. Right, the visions of Ezekiel, the visions of Ezekiel, hidden secrets, and what man does in the dark. All right, and I've been wanting to go over this, but the Spirit had me go over it today through the Spirit. All right, now Ezekiel is a very prophetic book. All right, a lot of brothers, a lot of Christians read Ezekiel. A lot of brothers and sisters read Ezekiel, and it's dealing heavy with a lot of parables, a lot of visions, a lot of similitudes and signs that Ezekiel had to do as well as the other prophets to show forth or shadow what the Most High is going to do to the nation of Israel due to their sins or their iniquities. All right. So we're going to go into Ezekiel, the 8th chapter today, and break it down. And I actually want to do some more videos on the visions of Ezekiel because Ezekiel received a lot of visions through the Spirit. All right. Let's see if I can pull this up. Let's go to the book of Ezekiel, right? The 8th chapter. All right, let's go to the book of Ezekiel, chapter 8. All right. So again, Ezekiel, he received a lot of visions through the Spirit, just like as well as a lot of the prophets. They received a plethora of visions. All right, and ultimately visions is sent from the Most High. Before we go to this, let's kick it off with the book of Numbers, the 12th chapter. All right, let's kick it off with the book of Numbers, chapter 12. And when you reading some of these visions that the prophets are seeing, you want to, for lack of better terms, the best you can to put yourself in the shoes and actually act like you're seeing these visions, man. All right, because these men actually seeing visions. You have certain men, they don't believe visions is not real. That's folly. What do you mean you seen this in your dream? Well, visions are real, man, according to the scriptures. And the Most High deals heavy with visions and dreams to particular men and women. All right, it's the book of Numbers, chapter 12 and 6. It says, and he said, hear now my words. If there be a prophet among you, I, the Lord, will make myself known unto him in a vision, and will speak unto him in a dream. So if it's a prophet among you, you're going to know a true prophet ultimately by what he prophesies. Nevertheless, if a prophet is among you, the Most High is going to speak to him in a vision and a dream. The Most High is not, you're not here. These men, you got certain men talking about, I heard a voice, and it said, you're going to be delivered. Well, the Most High is not making himself known in a deep, dark voice, man, saying, Zechariah, da 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 da. He's not talking to him like that. All right. If it's a prophet, the way the Most High speaks is through a dream and through a vision. It's a plethora of ways the Most High can speak to you, by other men, by the beast around you, by the elements, all right, by visions, by dreams. That's how the Most High speaks to his men. Stop thinking that the Most High is speaking to you in a deep pitch black voice, man. Right? You got certain Eves talking about, yeah, I be talking to God when I be on my bed when I'm going to sleep. We be having deep conversations. Well, you're not talking to the Most High, you're talking to somebody else. Because if the Lord is going to speak to you, he's going to make himself known to you in a vision or in a dream. And how is the Lord speaking to Ezekiel? Via visions. All right. Everybody doesn't receive visions. Just because you don't receive a vision, that doesn't mean you're not a prophet. Nevertheless, visions and dreams, everybody doesn't have dreams. But visions and dreams is being showed to the prophets back then and in the last days. All right. So today we going over Ezekiel, the 8th chapter. And again, I really want to cover a lot of these visions in Ezekiel because these visions are deep, man. It's a lot of visions that you got Ezekiel, the 1st chapter I want to cover, going into what Ezekiel's seen about the chariots. All right. You got Ezekiel, the 10th chapter, with dealing with the angels. All right. You got Ezekiel 40 all the way to chapter 46 and 48, dealing with the new temple, the 3rd temple. All right. Ultimately, the temple that's going to be in the kingdom. And you have a lot of parables in Ezekiel. Ezekiel, the 16th chapter, Ezekiel, the 23rd chapter. And it can actually paint a picture of how the Most High really felt about the nation of Israel. All right, so let's go to the book of Ezekiel, chapter 8 and verse 1. Let's get straight into it. All right, and again, you want to be able to, when you read over this stuff, you want to be able to imagine as like you're there. You don't want to just read the Bible and you say, well, Abraham, yeah, he looked up to heaven and the Most High said he's gonna produce his offspring as the dust of the stars. No, you want to act like you're there, man. So while you reading over that, then you thinking about looking up to heaven, you seeing all of the stars of the sky. Then you say, dang, the Most High, that's what the Most High showed Abraham. And you want to be there as much as possible in the spirit so you can actually feel this. It's a difference between reading the words of the Most High, reading the Bible and the scriptures, and actually feeling it. Hey, we want to read this word, you want to feel it. Dang, I feel what Ezekiel went through when the Most High killed his wife. All right. Nevertheless, no further ado, let's get straight into it. All right. Let's get straight into it. All right. It's the book of Slakia. It's the book of Ezekiel, chapter 8 and verse number 1. Ezekiel chapter 8 and 1, it says, and it came to pass in the 6th year, in the 6th month, in the 5th day of the month, as I sat in my house, and the elders of Judah sat before me, that the hand of the Lord fell upon me. All right. It says, then I beheld, and lo, a likeness as the appearance of fire, from the appearance of his loins, even downward fire, and from his loins, even upward, as the appearance of brightness, as the color of amber. So when it says the hand of the Lord fell upon me, meaning the Most High put Ezekiel in the spirit. All right. He put him in the spirit. And while he's in the spirit, he's seeing a likeness as an appearance. He's seeing a fire, for lack of better terms. All right. And it says the appearance of his loins, even downward, fire, and from his loins, even upward, as the appearance of brightness, as the color of amber. All right. And we know amber, it's like that brownish color. Let's look at the color of amber. All right. This is the color of amber. So Ezekiel, he's seeing that fire, but it's almost like a darkish brownish fire. All right. Again, this is what Ezekiel is saying. All right, let's go back to it. It says, verse number 3, and he put forth the form of an hand. So a hand was coming to him and took me by the lock of my head, meaning took him by his hair, and the spirit lifted me up between the earth and the heaven and brought me into the visions of God to Jerusalem, to the door of the inner gate that looketh toward the north. And there was the seat of image of jealousy, which provoketh to jealousy. All right, I'm gonna read that again. Let's break it down. Verse 3, and he put forth the hand, the form of an hand, and took me by a lock of my head. And the spirit lifted me up between the earth and the heaven and brought me into the visions of God. So the spirit of the Lord came upon Ezekiel and it lifted him up, man. And he saw visions. Again, this is not the only time where it's only Ezekiel experiencing this. All throughout the Bible, you experiencing men being in the spirit. The Most High took them up by their hair and put them in the spirit. Or next thing you know, they was in the spirit and they between the earth and the heavens, man, seeing certain things in Revelations. Let's go to the book of John, chapter 4. All right. Let's go to the book of John, chapter 4. It's like actually, let's go to Revelation, chapter 4. All right, let's go to the book of Revelation, dealing with John. But let's go to Revelation, chapter 4. And I want verse number 1. It's the book of John, chapter 4, and verse 1. After this I looked, and behold, a door was opened in heaven. And the voice which I heard was as it was a voice of a trumpet talking with me, which said, Come up hither, I will shew thee these things which must be hereafter. And immediately I was in the spirit, and behold, a throne was set in heaven, and one sat on the throne. See that? So John, when he's seeing these visions in Revelation, he said he was in the spirit. All right, in order to see these visions from the Most High, you have to be in the spirit. You think a fool or a slothful man is going to receive certain visions from the Most High? No, he wasn't in the spirit. The Most High has to tap you into the spirit. In order for the Most High to tap you into the spirit, you have to somewhat be already in the spirit. Be meditating about the precepts, fasting, praying. And when Ezra was in the spirit, he was fasting 7 days. When you read Second Ezra. All right. So you're going to have to be in the spirit on some type of level to even be able to receive these visions. Because the Most High is not having a slothful, lazy man, a wicked man, get in the spirit and just seeing visions of the Most High. No, these was holy men. These was prophets. All right. So a John was in the spirit. A lot of the prophets in dealing with these prophetic books, with these men, they experienced the same thing like every one of the other prophets experienced. All right, let's go to the book of Bel and the Dragon in the Apocrypha. All right, let's go to the book of Bel and the Dragon in the Apocrypha. All right. Bel and the Dragon, verse number 33. All right, Bel and the Dragon, verse number 33. It says, Now there was in Jewry a prophet called Habakkuk, right, or Habakkuk, who had made pottage and had broken bread in a bowl and was going into the field for it to bring it to the reapers. Right, talking about Habakkuk the prophet that you read about in the Old Testament. It says, But the angel of the Lord said unto Habakkuk, Go, carry the dinner that thou hast into Babylon unto Daniel, who is in the lion's den. Now, if you know anything geographically, Babylon is far away from Jewry, or also known as Jerusalem. I mean, that's thousand. That might be that's a lot of miles. That's a long distance, right? So keeping in mind, this is what Habakkuk said. He said, and Habakkuk said, Lord, I never saw Babylon. Meaning, what? I never been in Babylon before. Neither do I know where the den is. Because again, Habakkuk never been to Babylon, while Daniel was in Babylon at this time. Verse 36. Then the angel of the Lord took him by the crown and bare him by the hair of his head. The same thing he did with Ezekiel in Ezekiel the 8th chapter. The Lord took Ezekiel by the lock of his head, and through the vehemency of his spirit set him in Babylon over the den. See that? So again, these prophets, when they see in certain visions, like Ezekiel, when you in the spirit, the Most High can set you up somewhere, and you see in the whole landmass. Or like John the Revelator in Revelation the 15th chapter, John was in the spirit. He was actually on top of the firmament, looking down, and it was fire mingled with glass. That's because he's in the spirit. He's receiving his vision. Nevertheless, Habakkuk, through the vehemency of his spirit, the Most High set him in Babylon so he could feed Daniel while Daniel was in the lion's den. All right. So again, this stuff gets deep. I want to actually get that in Revelation chapter 15. So again, a lot of the prophets experienced the same things. Let's go to Revelation chapter 15. All right, it's the book of Revelation chapter 15. In verse number 1, it says, And I saw another sign in heaven, great and marvelous, 7 angels having the 7 last plagues, right? For in them is filled up the wrath of God. And I saw as it were a sea of glass mingled with fire. What is that glass mingled with fire? That's John ultimately on top of the firmament, looking down, and he's seeing the destruction of America. He's seeing everything on fire. All right. And them that had gotten a victory over the beast, and over his image, and over his mark, and over the number of his name, standing on the sea of glass, having the harps of God. So again, John would have to be in the spirit to see this, because no man is just teleporting up there by his own will as a mortal man. No, the Most High has to cause you to see this in a vision through the vehemency of the spirit. All right. So again, a lot of the prophets they experience the exact same things. Let's go back to Ezekiel chapter 8. All right. Let's go back to the book of Ezekiel, the 8th chapter. Right. Go back to Ezekiel chapter 8. And let's read on. Ezekiel chapter 8 and 3 again. And he put forth the form of an hand and took me by a lock of my head. And the spirit lifted me up between the earth and the heaven, and brought me into the visions of God to Jerusalem, to the door of the inner gate that looketh toward the north. All right, what is the door of the inner gate? Again, the door of the inner gate that looketh toward the north. Again, Ezekiel, he was in the house, he was sat in his house, and the elders of Judah sat before me. All right. So again, Ezekiel is seeing a vision going into the court of Jerusalem. It says, ultimately going before the temple was being destroyed by Nebuchadnezzar. So let me see if I can pull this up. All right, let me see if I can pull up a visual for the temple. All right, of Solomon's temple. It's a better picture. All right, this is Solomon's temple in Jerusalem. All right, so you had the first temple, which is Solomon's temple, but this temple got destroyed in the siege of Jerusalem. Nevertheless, this is Solomon's temple, right? Now, as you can see, you had a door. I believe that says that's the forecourt. All right, let me see if I can pull up a better picture. Solomon's temple. See if we could get a visual. All right. It's a good picture right here. All right, Solomon's temple right here. So this is the door, right? This is the door to the inner end. All right, you have the inner sanctuary. Inside, you have the candlesticks. You have everything in here. You have the brazen altar right here. You have the brazen laver. So Ezekiel's, he's seeing the gate of the inner court. All right. Let's go back to the book of Ezekiel. It says, the door of the inner gate that looketh toward the north, where the seat of the image of jealousy, which provoketh to jealousy. And as we read on, you're going to find out what this is actually talking about. All right. Verse 4. And behold, the glory of the God of Israel was there according to this vision that I saw in the plain. All right. Verse 5. Then he said unto me, Son of man, lift up thy eyes now toward the north. So I lifted up my eyes toward the north, and behold, northward at the gate of the altar, this image of jealousy in the entry. All right. He said unto me, Son of man, seest thou what they do? Even the great abominations that the house of Israel committeth here, that I should go afar off from my sanctuary. Return thee yet, and thou shalt see greater abominations. So again, you're going to find out what the altar, this image of jealousy is, even as you read further down, ultimately going into the idolatry worship and the images that the house of Israel was setting up and worshiping. Now, as Ezekiel's looking toward this, he says, Son of man, seest thou what they do? Even the great abominations that the house of Israel committeth here. What abominations was they committing? They was committing idolatry, man. Lewdness, evilness, wickedness, right in the sanctuary of the Most High. That's why the Most High took him here, man. So he can see all the wickedness of Israel, right? And how they was freaking off, man, and doing God knows what. Now, the point is, or rather, imagine if the Most High didn't even tell Ezekiel, or he didn't even show Ezekiel these visions. All right. No man would know what these men is doing in the sanctuary. All right. Hey, that's off, man. You in the house of the Lord. Doing God. That's like in the ancient world, we go into the temple, all right, and we just freaking off inside the temple. You in a holy place. Aaron, he's in the holy place, and he bring a woman in there, and he kind of just spin the game to her and doing his own thing. Hey, that's blasphemy, man. Right? And you had men doing that. Let's go to the book of 1 Samuel. All right. Let's go to the book of 1 Samuel. Yeah, certain men, they was just doing God knows what, man. Committing adultery, graven images, right? This the book of, actually I want 1 Samuel chapter 2. All right, let's go to the book of 1 Samuel, second chapter. This is the book of 2 Samuel chapter 2. Well, 1 Samuel chapter 2. Shalakia. This is the book of 1 Samuel chapter 2 at verse number 21. 1 Samuel 2 and 21. And the Lord visited Hannah so that she conceived and bare 3 sons and 2 daughters. And the child Samuel grew before the Lord. Now Eli was very old and heard all that his sons did unto all Israel. All right. Eli is a priest at this time. And how they lay with the women that assembled at the door of the tabernacle of congregation. So you had Eli's sons, they was sleeping with women at the door of the tabernacle of congregation, man. What is the tabernacle of congregation? That's what Moses set up ultimately from the visions that he seen and the blueprint that he got from Mount Sinai to set up a tabernacle. All right. You had the holy place in there. Well, you had the holy place, the holies of holies. You have the sacred, the holy things, the candlestick, the incense, the shewbread. So we can pull up a picture. All right. Want to get a good picture. All right, this is a decent picture. All right. You have something called a tabernacle of congregation. This is before Solomon built up the temple of the Lord or the house of the Lord. This is where the Most High was dwelling at. All right. You had the tabernacle of congregation. So you had the gate, which faces toward the east. All right. You had the brazen altar, the laver of the brazen of water. Then you had the veil, the holy place. So right at the door, guess what? You had Eli's sons trying to sleep with women, man. Here you have it. You might have a woman, she's bringing up a burnt offering. She's trying to repent for her sins, a sin offer, a trespass offering. You got men trying to get on that with her. Are you what you saying today? Right? Just being lewd, man. But that's what men was doing. So men don't care if the Most High is dwelling right there. And that's how Jake is now, man. You got certain brothers in the truth. Hey, they don't care. They'll freak off while a video is playing. Right? You watching the truth video, a camp video, then they just smoking weed, watching the video. I believe it was a brother that said that. He said he smoked weed and he watched the camp videos doing the same at the same time. All right. You have certain men, it's stories of men literally whipping out blunts in front of brothers and smoking it like brothers not going to say anything with no discretion or no regard. All right. That's like that. I mean, that's just no respect for the Most High. You're really not supposed to be doing it anyway. Right? No wickedness at all. You're really supposed to have integrity. But it's just certain things you don't do what's present, man. But again, that's what you had. You had men in the ancient world doing. That's nothing new. You had the 2 men, the 2 sons of Eli. You had the elders, the men of Israel freaking off in front of the sanctuary into idolatry, worshiping strange images. All right. That's what the children of Israel was into. Let's go back to this in Ezekiel. Hey, that's off, man. That is off. That is wickedness. That's a sacred place. The Most High placed his name there. Let's go back to that in Ezekiel. All right, Ezekiel chapter 8 and 6 again. He said, furthermore unto me, son of man, seest thou what they do, even the great abominations that the house of Israel committeth here, that I should go afar off from my sanctuary, but turn thee yet again, and thou shalt see greater abominations. So, the Most High told Ezekiel, hold on, you thought you seen some. No, turn here again. I'm going to show you, and you're going to see more abominations. You're going to see more evils. You're going to see more wickedness. Verse 7. And he brought me to the door of the court. And when I looked, behold, a hole in the wall. It says, Then he said unto me, Son of man, dig now in the wall. And when I had digged in the wall, behold, a door. And he said unto me, Go in, and behold, the wicked abominations they do here. All right. So these men, they was doing abominations behind the door. It's the Lord had to tell Ezekiel to go in the door. Now, when Ezekiel opened up the door, he's beholding all the abominations. Imagine if the Most High told you to damn go in a room of your next door neighbors, and you see some stuff you might not want to see in there. You might bug out. It says, verse 10, So I went in and saw, and behold, every form of creeping things, and abominable beast, and all the idols of the house of Israel portrayed upon the wall round about. See that? Look at that. You got abominable beast, man. No, these men, it's not like these men didn't know the law. They knew the law, man. But they still doing it anyway, thinking that nobody sees them. And again, that's Jake even now, man. Jay got wickedness. He still got damn blunts packages in his house. All right. He still got damn idols in there. Things that's unprofitable. All right. Mischief. Probably still got his dice in there he used to shoot with. And all the idols of the house of Israel portrayed upon the wall. And these men got idols in their house, man. Right? They probably got a damn, God knows what they had in there. Probably had a cow in there they was worshiping. The idols of Babylon, the stars in there, the moon. It says, and there stood before them 70 men of the ancients of the house of Israel. And in the midst of them stood Jaazaniah, the son of Shaphan, with every man his censer in his hand, and a thick cloud of incense went up. See that? And they was burning incense to these strange gods. Now let's pull up what Ezekiel actually seen. For Ezekiel, let's go to it. Ezekiel 8 vision. All right. Let's see if I can pull up a good picture. I seen a good picture earlier. Let's see. All right, bear with me. All right. And it was a picture, man. It was a good picture. Seen it earlier. Probably should have saved it. Let me see. All right, bear with me. See if I can find this picture. All right. Most High willingness. Dang, man, it was a good picture. All right, this is something similar to what I seen. Let's see if I can find it. Right, it was a picture of Ezekiel, and he's seeing all the different things and the abominations of Israel. Google, man. Right, he saw in these pictures. Right, if not, I'm gonna try to find the best picture I can. I really wanted to look for this one picture I seen. All right, let me see if I can find this. All right, bear with me, Israel. Some of these visions, they don't even have the right visions on here. Yeah, it might be raps for this. All right, let me see if I can find the best picture available. All right, most I willing, picture pops up. All right, so again, Ezekiel, if you could put yourself in his shoes, man, again, somebody you would probably bug out. Oh, here we go. All praise to the Most High. Right, all praises to the Most High. All right, see if I can pull this up. All right, all praises to the Most High. So with Ezekiel, dang. All right, so what Ezekiel is seeing again, he's in a spirit. So one moment he's seeing men. So you got men up here, they doing God knows what and freaking off with idols on the wall. You got women right here, they weeping for the Tammuz God. Right here, other men, you have them bowing down. So again, you have to put yourself in the prophet's shoes, bro. Imagine if the Most High gave you a vision, then you damn turn to the right, and on the right, your next door neighbors, you getting a vision of what they actually doing in their house. Somebody over there smoking, they getting drunk, they partying. Then you go to the house in front of you. You got a man over there committing adultery. Then on the house to the right of you, to the left of you, you got a woman in there getting raped, right? Kids being touched on in there by Edomites. Then you go to the house down the street, you got homosexuality going on. If you was to see all the wickedness and the evil that's around you, and you would bug out, man. You would lose your mind, man. That's just too much evil, especially if you're a righteous man. Hey, I would be mad, man. If I seen you got a lot of brothers, well, that's their house, that's their space. Nobody, that's not their space, man. It's the Most High space ultimately. Nevertheless, that's a lot of wickedness. But you have to, hey, that's what the Most High is seeing every single day. All right. So let's go to the book of Ezekiel, chapter 22. All right. Let's go to the book of Ezekiel, the 22nd chapter. All right, let's go to the book of Ezekiel, chapter 22. It's the book of Ezekiel, chapter 22 and 6. It says, "Behold, the princes of Israel, every one were envy to their power to shed blood. And thee have they set light by father and mother. In the midst of thee have they dealt by oppression with the stranger. And thee have they vexed the fatherless and the widow." So you have the Israelites back then. They was oppressing the fatherless and the widow, man. Right? Women that had just lost their husband. Right? The kids that don't have a father. It says, verse 8, "Thou hast despised my holy things. Thou hast profaned my Sabbaths." And this is what we see almost day-to-day basis. Right? You know how many people was profaning the Sabbath day? And you even got brothers in the truth profaning the Sabbath day. Breaking the Sabbath. You got Eve breaking the Sabbath to try to go be with her friends. Drake breaking the Sabbath to try to go be with his woman. It says, "In thee are men that carry tails to shed blood, and in thee they eat upon the mountains. In the midst they commit lewdness." So you had the children of Israel committing lewdness. What is lewdness? Look that up. Lewdness. Lewdness. Crude and offensive in a sexual way. Filthy, dirty, pornographic. See that? Obscene. So you had the children of Israel, they was being lewd. They was being offensive in a sexual behavior. Offending women probably. Just doing God knows what, man. Just being off. All right. And again, Ezekiel is seeing all of this. So you have to do, what would you do if you're just seeing all of this in a moment of time? All right. Again, you will bug out, man. Let me see if I can pull this up. Let's read on that Ezekiel chapter 22. Right, it's the book of Ezekiel chapter 22 and verse Ezekiel 22 and verse number 10. It says, "In thee have they discovered their father's nakedness." And that's off. It says, "In thee they have humbled her that was set apart for pollution." Verse 11, "And one have committed abomination with his neighbor's wife, and another have lewdly defiled his daughter-in-law, and another thee have he humbled his sister's father's daughter." And that's just, again, you will bug out, man. If I seen this, I would scream at the top of my lungs. You have men sleeping with their daughters-in-law, defiling them. Another man committing adultery. Eve out there committing adultery. The only crazy thing is that's what's happening right now. Again, what if the Most High didn't show Ezekiel this vision? Yeah, Ezekiel would know his wickedness out there, but he's getting an in-depth vision of the wickedness. Not only that, but when we read on, these men was doing this when nobody was watching. And that's how brothers and sisters are in the truth. And you can't be doing that, man. Can't you just be doing it just because man doesn't see it? Oh yeah, man doesn't see me doing this. All right, let me take advantage. You damn closing, you locking your door. Or you going to the cloud, you going to the bathroom. So you can spark up that J. All right, so you can watch those damn videos late at night. All right, so you could talk to so and so on the phone. You wait till you get home and you're not around other brothers to go hang with your friends in the world and talk about sports and drink beers. And the Most High sees this. It's just man doesn't see it. Nevertheless, Ezekiel, he's seeing all of this. Right? Let's go back to Ezekiel. chapter 8. Right? Let's go back to the book of Ezekiel, the 8th chapter. So you have to check yourself and have to ask yourself, are you walking with integrity? It's Ezekiel chapter 8 and verse number Ezekiel 8 and verse number 12. He said unto me, Son of man, hast thou seen what the ancients of the house of Israel do in the dark? Every man in the chambers of his imagery. For they say, the Lord seeth us not. The Lord hath forsaken the earth. That's what these men were saying. They were saying, hold on, we could get away with this. The Most High don't see us. Hey, the Lord do see you, man. It's just man doesn't see you. Nevertheless, man is seeing, Ezekiel's seeing this right now. So Ezekiel is ultimately, he's seeing what the Most High has to see every single day. And like we said, if you see this, you will bug out, man. If you a righteous man. Why? Because you will hate evil, right? You will completely hate evil. Let's go to that in Proverbs chapter 8. Right, let's go to the book of Proverbs chapter 8. If you wouldn't hate that, like I said, you had a lot of brothers, they cool with seeing that stuff. And it doesn't affect them. No, the soul of the righteous, hey, they're gonna get upset because they hate evil, they hate wickedness, they hate sin, witchcraft, rebellion, sorcery, idolatry, lewd behavior. This Proverbs chapter 8 and 13, it says, the fear of the Lord is to hate evil, pride and arrogancy, and the evil way and the forward mouth do I hate. So if a man that fears God, a man that truly has the fear of the Lord, he's going to hate evil, man. He's not going to be, Ezekiel, I'm led to believe Ezekiel wasn't comfortable with seeing this, right? He wasn't the same after seeing this vision. That probably messed up his head, man. Got certain Eves, well, that's not that bad. No, sister, what it is, you like those spirits. You don't hate evil because you don't really fear the Most High. Because if you did, you will, hey, that would get on your nerves, right? Just like Lot, that got on Lot nerves. Let's go to that in 2 Peter, right? Again, the righteous, they can't stand these things. I humbly speaking, I can't stand, I hate evil, man. Wickedness, ungodliness, right? Covetousness. It's a filthy spirit that comes with it, man. Let's go to 2 Peter chapter 1 and verse number 7, right? I'm gonna start at 6. 2 Peter chapter 2 and verse 6, right? 2 Peter 2 and 6, and turning the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah into ashes, condemned with an overflow, making them an example unto those that shall live ungodly, right? The Most High destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah. Verse 7, and delivered just Lot, vexed with a filthy conversation with the wicked. I said Lot was vexed when he heard those wicked conversations. You go into that word filthy in the Greek, that's talking about sexual lewd behavior, right? With other men. Imagine you hear another man talking about what he would do to another man when they go home. I mean, we hear that with Jake and Eve. That's already disgusting. With another man, that's 10 times more disgusting. Lot wasn't cool with that, man. If you cool with that, brother, you got to check your spirit. You need to do something. That's not normal. That's a strange spirit, right? Are you vexed? You have to ask yourself, are you vexed when the people at your job talking about nothing but foolishness? Or are you entertaining that conversation? Oh, yeah, you right. Oh, yeah, LeBron, hey, man, LeBron he did score 40. No, brother, what do you mean LeBron scored 40? You was just that count talking about how you not watching sports. So you lied, right? You have to ask yourself, are you vexed with the evil that you see? Not just when you at camp. A lot of brothers, yeah. You at camp, you just hate everything. You getting on everything you see. Then you go home, your wife smoking cigarettes, and you just learn her do it, right? Or she's being ungodly, you just not saying anything. You're not checking nothing. A lot he was vexed with the filthy conversation of the wicked. For that righteous man dwelling among them and seeing and hearing vexed his righteous soul from day to day with their unlawful deeds. So when Lot was seeing that and hearing it, he was vexed. From day to day, he was vexed. Let's see if you can look up this word vexed. Right? Let's see if we can look up the definition for the word vexed. Right? This definition of the word vexed, it says difficult and much debated, problematic, right? Contested and contention, contentious, right? Or the second definition, annoyed, frustrated, or worried, irritated. A lot, he was irritated, man, angry, inflamed, furious. That stuff will get on your nerves. So a righteous man, when he's seeing his wickedness, hey, that's gonna change. That's gonna alter his understanding. He's gonna be like, damn, what the hell did I just see? It's gonna make him angry and mad. Only a righteous man. All right. And again, ultimately, what Ezekiel is seeing, that's what the Most High sees on a day-to-day basis. All right. Let's go to the book of Genesis, chapter 6 and 13. Ezekiel only seen that once. The Most High sees this every single day. It's the book of Genesis, chapter 6 and 13. I'm gonna start at verse 2. I'm gonna start at verse 11. This Genesis chapter 6 and 11, right? And it reads, Genesis 6 and 11. It says, it says, the earth also was corrupted before God, and the earth was filled with violence. And God looked upon the earth, and behold, it was corrupt, for all flesh hath corrupted his way upon the earth. And God said unto Noah, the end of all flesh is come before me, for the earth is filled with violence through them, and behold, I will destroy them with the earth. So the Most High, when he looked down, and he saw nothing but wickedness everywhere at once, at one time. He's seeing wickedness over here and freaking off over here. He's seeing Eve being adulterous over here, twerking, right, in the church. You got pastors robbing people, ripping them off. You got damn gangbangers, men selling drugs, a woman getting raped right here. And the Most High, he destroyed that place with the flood. That's the same way the Lord is going to do. It's going to come a point of time where wickedness is going to reach its peak from the Most High seeing it, and he's going to send off the prophecies, and he's going to say the end of all flesh is coming before me, and he's going to destroy it with nuclear fire, right? And destroy this place via the chariots of Mashiach Malak Yahushua. So again, the Most High sees this every single day. Let's go to Psalms chapter 14 and 1. Right? Let's go to the book of Psalms, chapter 14, and verse number 1. It says, the fool hath said in his heart, there is no God. They are corrupt. They have done abominable works. There is none that doeth good. The Lord looketh down from heaven upon the children of men to see if there were any that did understand and see God. And the Most High is doing this all the time, right? 2 Chronicles 16 and 9. So you have certain angels sent down to look and behold men whose thoughts and heart is toward the Most High. Paraphrasing it, right? So you have Pacific angels they sent down here just to see what man is thinking about. Is it men even seeking God? It says they are all, this verse 3, they are all going aside. They are all together become filthy. There is none that doeth good, no, not one. So when the Most High seen that, when he looked down, he said, hey, this place is filthy, man. It's only a select few and a select remnant that's doing good, that's fasting, that's praying, that's being on fire, that's reading, exhortating, feeding the sheep. Everybody else, they doing wickedness. Even brothers in the truth, they do wickedness, man, and sisters in the truth. So the Most High is seeing that, but his eye is on that very small remnant that is thinking about God, that is meditating upon him, thinking upon his laws, right? Meditating in his works. So, brothers, if you want to keep that in mind, that stuff get deep, man. It's what the Most High has to put up with. Let's go back to Ezekiel chapter 8. It's the book of Ezekiel chapter 8 and verse number Ezekiel chapter 8 and verse number 12 again. Then he said unto me, Son of man, thou hast seen what the ancients of the house of Israel do in the dark, every man in the chambers of his imagery. For they say, the Lord seeth us not, the Lord hath forsaken the earth. See that? And why these men was doing that, and these women, they mindset, what really triggered them to do that, they really thought in the back of their head, the Most High doesn't see it because it's done in the dark. Let's go to Sirach chapter 23 and 19. Right? Let's go to Sirach chapter. You know how foolish you gotta be to say this is in the dark? Like the Most High can't see you. Hey, who created the dark? The Lord created the dark. You think the Most High can't see in the dark? Oh yeah, you got certain men talking about his eyes real bad. The Most High, his eyes real old. He not gonna see this, right? Next, you know, they freaking off in the night. You got certain brothers going to clubs, man. Talking about, yeah, you can just go to, it's nighttime, right? Let's pop out. You got women going to clubs, doing tarot card readings, all right? Binge watching Netflix all day, being slothful. Let's go to the book of Sirach, chapter 23. Hey, the Most High sees you, brother. The Most High sees you, sister. That's one thing you can't escape. You can't escape the eyes of the Most High. This Sirach chapter 23 and verse number 17. I'm gonna start at 17. All bread is sweet to a whoremonger. He would not leave off till he die. A whoremonger is a man, chiefly a man that just has sexual intercourse with anything he sees. He don't care if the woman is fat, if she's a midget, she's Chinese, she's white. He doesn't care. All bread is sweet to a whoremonger. It says, verse 18, a man that breaketh wedlock, saying thus in his heart. So a man that breaks wedlock, that's what he's saying in his mind. Who seeth me? I am compassed about with darkness. The walls cover me, and nobody seeth me. What need I to fear? The Most High would not remember my sins. And that's what every time you go off, every time you sin, this is really what you. Now you might say, well, hold on. I don't say that, right? I don't say nobody not seeing me. The Most High won't remember my sins. Yeah, you might not be physically saying that, brother or sister, but when you do these actions and you going off, I mean, hey, that's ultimately what you're saying. You have to repent. That's really what you're saying. Because if you're not really saying that, if you're not really thinking this in your mind, you would not do it. Because that fear of the Lord will be always right there. Dang, the most I see me. Right? I'm not gonna do this. Right? The most I he got his angels down here watching me. Right? I'm not gonna act like this. Yeah, you got certain brothers just getting drunk and women getting drunk, pouring up Hennessy, you're a woman, you're a sister in the truth. You just pouring up vodka. And you're not applying no precepts. And the Most High sees you. You get angry, you have wrath, envy, strife, confusion. And the Most High sees you. Now, man probably don't see you. Just know the Lord sees you. It says, verse 19, such a man only feareth the eyes of men, and knoweth not that the eyes of the Lord are 10,000 times brighter than the sun. So man, he only fears the eyes of men. He don't want men to make fun of him. That's why Jake go lock his door, finna do something off. Or he go outside, he go to a secret place, might go to a building, might go in his car, go in the shower, go in a plane. Wherever you go that man is not seeing, the Most High always sees. Such a man only feareth the eyes of men, and knoweth not that the eyes of the Lord are 10,000 times brighter than the sun, beholding all the ways of men, and considering the most secret parts. See that? So the Lord sees everything, even what's done in the dark, even what's done in the secret. Brothers and sisters got to keep that in mind. The Most High sees you, man. But those men in Ezekiel, the 8th chapter, they said the Most High don't see me. Right? Let's go to Job chapter 24. Right, let's run through these precepts. Let's go to Job chapter 24 and 15. Job chapter 24 and verse 15. It says, the eye of the adulterer waiteth for the twilight, saying, no eye shall see me in the skies of his face. So certain men, ultimately, the eye of the adulterer, that's spiritual and physical. Nevertheless, but a physical adulterer, he's not gonna go commit adultery. Well, you got Jake, they'll do it in the daytime. That's just to their wickedness. Nevertheless, most adultery happens in the twilight, in the dark. And it's what men is saying. No eye shall see me. Because they think it's dark outside, that the Lord don't see them. It says in the dark they dig through houses which they had marked for themselves in the daytime. They know not the light. A lot of you brothers, you don't know the light, man. You wait till it get dark outside. Ultimately, wait till nobody's looking. All right? You wait till nobody's looking. Nobody's at your house. Nobody's around. And you just do God knows what. All right? I don't know what you do. Only the Most High knows. Right? Let me see if I can get this precept. Con. Let's go to Job chapter 22. All right. Just go to the book of Job chapter 22. It's the book of Job chapter 22 and verse number 10. I'm going to start at verse 11. Right. Job 22 and verse number 11. And it reads, it says, or darkness that thou canst not see, and abundance of waters cover thee. Is not God in the height of heaven? And behold, the height of the stars, how high are they? And thou sayest, how doth God know? Can he judge through the dark cloud? Thick clouds are a covering to him, that he see not, and he walketh in a circuit of heaven. So you have certain men, they say that. They say the clouds, hey, it's the Most High can't see. The clouds is outside. No, brother, the Lord see you through the clouds. But man is not on that spiritual level. He blinded by his lust and his lasciviousness. All right. So again, the Most High sees you. And in his vision in Ezekiel, the 8th chapter, the Most High is allowing a man to see what goes on in the dark. Let's go to Proverbs chapter 15. Right. Let's go to the book of Proverbs chapter 15. Right. Proverbs chapter 15 and verse 3. The eyes of the Lord are in every place, beholding the evil and the good. What are the eyes of the Lord? Right. The eyes of the Lord are the angels. Right. They are the eyes of the Lord. They behold everything. They take it down. They take note of it, whether it's good or evil, and they report that back up to the Most High. Right. So the eyes of the Lord are in every place. So we want to think before you do something next time. All right. Let's go to additions to Esther. Let's go to additions to Esther and the Apocrypha. I want 16:4. Let's see. Let me see if that's 10. Or that might be 7. Right. If you in the Apocrypha, and 16:11 is gonna be 16:7. Well, 16:4, but I believe that's 5. Shalak, bear with me. Right, I'm gonna just put it. I'm gonna pull it in my Bible. Let's go to the book of Additions to Esther, chapter 16:4. Right, it's the book of Additions to Esther in the Apocrypha, chapter 16 and verse number 4, and it reads, like it. All right, Additions to Esther 16:4 in the Apocrypha, it says, and take not only thankfulness away from among men, but also lift up with the glorious words of Lu's person that were never good. They think to escape the justice of God that seeth all things and hateth evils. Right? And that's plain. The Most High sees all things and he hates evil. All right. So let's go back to Ezekiel chapter 8. All right, let's go back to the book of Ezekiel chapter 8. It's the book of Ezekiel chapter 8 and verse number 13. And he said unto me, turn thee yet again, and thou shalt see great abominations that they do, greater abominations. So it's not even done yet. It's still more wickedness to be seen. Verse 14, then brought me to the door of the gate of the Lord's house, which was toward the north, and behold, there sat women weeping for Tammuz. And he said unto me, hast thou seen this, O son of man? Turn thee yet again, and thou shalt see greater abominations than these. Who is Tammuz? Tammuz is a Babylonian god, right? That's who Tammuz. That's why you have women right here. They're weeping for Tammuz, which is a Babylonian god. So I mean, Israel is something else, man. All right. Tammuz is a Babylonian god or a Mesopotamian god of fertility. All right. Go back to that. It says, verse 15, and he said unto me, hast thou seen this, O son of man? Turn thee yet again, and thou shalt see greater abominations than these. And he brought me into the inner court of the Lord's house, and behold, at the door of the temple of the Lord, between the porch and the altar, were about 25 men, with their backs toward the temple of the Lord, and their faces toward the east. And this is how they pray, man. They pray. We pray towards the east, pursuing in Daniel chapter 6 and 10, right? In 1 Kings, the 8th chapter, 48 on down. But these men, they wasn't praying to the Most High toward the east. Who were they praying to? And they worshiped the sun toward the east. They was worshiping the sun. Instead of praying to the Most High towards the east, they was praising the sun and the stars, and into the idolatry. And again, Jake does the same thing. You guys certain Jake's talking about, yeah, I used to be moon gazing. I be moon gazing, sun gazing. But you just staring at the sun, man, trying to soak up energy. So you have 25 men with their backs toward the temple of the Lord, faces toward the east, and they worship the sun toward the east. Then he said unto me, hast thou seen this, O son of man? It is a light thing to the house of Judah that they commit the abominations which they commit here. For they have filled the land with violence, and have returned to provoke me to anger. And lo, they put the branch to their nose. Right? Therefore will I also deal in fury. My eye shall not spare, neither will I have pity. Though they cry in my ears with a loud voice, yet will I not hear them. And the Most High has every right to do that and to destroy those men. Because ultimately, they're sinning against the Most High that has done everything for them. And they think it's a light thing, right? And when you do this stuff, man, you're going off behind closed doors. You don't want to take that lightly. Oh, yeah, that's the light thing. The Most High, yeah, get over it. So you hurting the Most High, you making him angry. You're provoking him to anger. You're really pushing the Most High's buttons. Therefore, the Most High, he's not going to spare. He's going to utterly destroy and cut those men down, man. All right? And appoint them to the torments. And they're going to miss out on the kingdom of heaven. So again, you want to have some type of integrity, and you want to read Ezekiel, the 8th chapter. You want to put yourself in the shoes of Ezekiel when he's seeing this, and it should cause you to have more integrity. Let's go to Job chapter 27. Let's go to the book of Job chapter 27 and verse number 5. It says, God forbid that I should justify you. Till I die, I would not remove my integrity from me. My righteousness I hold fast and will not let it go. My heart shall not reproach me as long as I live. So Job said, as long as I live, till I die, I would not remove my integrity from me. What is integrity? Ultimately, integrity is doing what's right, even when no one is watching. Even though somebody is watching, but man is not thinking about that. So you want to do what's right, even when nobody's watching. When you're by yourself. That's called having integrity, being morally upright, right? Reliable. When I was growing up, they had something called the 3 R's: responsible, respectful, and reliable, right? All of that is somewhat associated with integrity. Let's go to Psalm chapter 17. So you have to pray to the Most High for integrity, that he increases your integrity, so you could do what's right even when nobody's watching you. This is the book of Psalms chapter 17 and verse number 3. Thou hast proved my heart. Thou hast visited me in the night. Thou hast tried me and shalt find nothing. I am purposed that my mouth shall not transgress. So, David said, you proved me, Lord. You visited me in the night, in the dark, right? You tried me. But, you're not going to find that. I'm going to stay faithful to you, Lord. David said, I'm purpose. I'm not going to break the commandments of the Most High. Not even in the dark. That's the type of integrity that you have to have, man. You have to ask the Most High to increase your integrity, right? Let's go to Psalms chapter 26 and 1. Let's go to Psalms chapter 26 and verse 1. Judge me, O Lord, for I have walked in my integrity. I have trusted also in the Lord, therefore I shall not slide. So again, David said he walked in his integrity, right? What does it mean by David walked in his integrity? Meaning David did what was right even when nobody was watching. Even when things was in the dark, man. David, he still stayed faithful to the Most High. So brothers and sisters want to make sure that they're walking with integrity, especially after reading Ezekiel the 8th chapter, seeing what truly goes on and what the Most High sees every single day. All right, but with that, I want to give all honor and glory to the Most High Yahweh. By Shema Mashiach, Womadak Yahushua. Most High willing, this video was edifying. We continue to read, pray, fast, study. And most importantly, beseech the Heavenly Father for his mercy. With that, I'm going to say Shalom.